Kindly remain standing as we have three anthems. We'll start with the Kenyan anthem, followed by the East African anthem, then the European Union anthem. The Kenyan anthem. We may kindly take our seats. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, His Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, the Attorney General, Ambassadors, the COG Chair Anne Waiguru, Governors present, Principal Secretaries present, Cabinet Secretaries and Principal Secretaries present, all national and local leaders present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, with your permission, allow me to now invite the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Honorable Felix Koskei, to read the invocation. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, the President, Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Your Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Secretary of State for Trade for the Kingdom of Spain, European Union Ambassador to Kenya, Excellencies, ambassadors present, the chairperson and members of the Council of Governors, honored guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, this state ceremony is convened to witness the signing of the Kenya-European Union Economic Partnership Agreement. After nearly a decade of wait, the Republic of Kenya and the European Union concluded negotiations of the Kenya-European Union Economic Partnership in June 2023. This agreement secures long-term duty-free, quota-free market access to 27 EU member states with a combined gross domestic product of USD 18 trillion for Kenya's exports. Your Excellency, permit me, Your Excellency, sir, to invite the Principal Secretary, State Department of Trade, to progress the signing ceremony. P.S. Kobudo.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellency, President of the European, Excellency, President of the European Council, Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Excellency, Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Cabinet Secretary for Trade, the Secretary of State for Trade for the Government of Spain, the Chair of the Council of Governors, all Cabinet Secretaries, Governors, leaders present, ambassadors, members of the private sector, good morning. My name is Alfred Kombudo. I'm Principal Secretary for Trade, and I'm most humbled to have been bestowed the honor of being the chief negotiator from the Kenyan side for this agreement by His Excellency the President. And today we are now doing the signing ceremony. Today we celebrate the farmer that dutifully tends to their land to a global standard to supply across the oceans. Today we celebrate the world-class, globally certified modern tanneries in Kenya that are exporting to Europe. Today we celebrate the machinery and the equipment and every other thing that is imported into Kenya from our European colleagues. Today, we celebrate all the traders, investors, farm workers, transporters, cargo handlers, food inspectors, crane drivers, security guards, park house workers, and all those whose contribution has made this relationship between Kenya and the European Union a fruitful and sustainable one. Today, we sign the Kenya-European Union Economic Partnership Agreement. We shall now proceed directly to the signing ceremony, and it is my pleasure to welcome the ambassador for the European Union based in Nairobi to kindly come to the stage and take her seat. You're very welcome, Balozi. Let's give a round of applause as she does that. I would now like to welcome Honorable the Cabinet Secretary for Investment, Trade and Industry, Honorable Rebecca Miano, to kindly make her remarks as she takes her seat at the signing. You're most welcome. Let's give her a round of applause.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, today we mark a new dawn for Kenya and the EU as we witness the signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement between Kenya, a member of the East African Community, and the European Union. Kenya and the EU share a long history of trade, investment, and economic cooperation, with total trade between us standing at 3.3 billion euros. Our trading relationship has been shoes, fruits, vegetables, coffee, apparel, medical equipment, chemicals, pharmaceutical products, and many more across oceans for use by our respective markets. Today's agreement heralds a new era where Kenyan goods gain immediate and permanent duty and quota-free access to the European market. Over time, European goods will also gain preferential access to the Kenyan market. We celebrate this relationship and urge for strengthening to pave way for today's trading relationship to morph into tomorrow's investment as value addition puts more money into the pockets of small and medium enterprises, both in Europe and in Kenya. Be assured of my ministry's full support to ensure that fruits of this agreement nourish in an already thriving relationship. I thank you.
Let's give a round of applause as Honorable the Cabinet Secretary takes her seat at the signing table. We're now going to proceed with the signing ceremony, but before we do so, I would like to request, with great humility, His Excellency, the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs to kindly make his remarks and flank the signatory table. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, Madam Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I also extend my greetings to you. Good morning. I am honored to join you on this auspicious occasion for the signing of the Kenya-European Union Economic Partnership Agreement. This ceremony marks an important milestone in the Kenya-European Union Strategic Dialogue that was launched in June 2021. It marks a significant step in the two-year negotiation process and cements the long-standing friendship between our two nations or regions. The European Union is Kenya's second largest export market. The signing of the European Union EPA opens up opportunities of increased market access and diversification of Kenya's exports to the European Union, particularly horticultural products. I also note that this trade deal includes substantial development and cooperation elements with a focus on sustainable provisions. These include climate action, environmental protection, and labor rights, amongst others. It will therefore be a catalyst for sustainable economic growth. Finally, allow me to appreciate the Kenya-European Union collaboration and look forward to the ratification of this promising agreement. I am confident that its implementation will contribute to the realization of our President's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. We'd now like to invite the State Secretary for Trade from the Government of Spain to kindly make her way to the signing table. Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause. We'd also like to invite His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to kindly join us at the front to witness the signing ceremony as well. Let's give him a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, and this is the moment we've been waiting for, we shall now embark on the signing ceremony. And I'd now like to invite our two leaders to kindly also now join us to witness the ceremony. His Excellency, the President of Kenya, and Her Excellency, the President of the European Council. You're most welcome. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's give them another round of applause. This is a historic moment. And we shall now request save for His Excellency the President and the President of the European Council. We shall now request that all those that are standing at the podium, please resume your seats.
It's European Commission.
Yes,
Not Council.
okay. Sorry? Okay. We would now like to proceed to the next stage of the ceremony, and I'd like to welcome His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya and Her Excellency the President of the European Commission to kindly take the podium. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, Madam Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, and your esteemed delegation, Mr. Deputy President, Prime Cabinet Secretary, members of Cabinet, our governors, members of the diplomatic corps, private sector representatives present here. Good morning. I have the immense honor of welcoming you all to Nairobi for this very important event. More particularly, I take this opportunity to welcome our great friend, and as a people and a nation, Her Excellency Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, together with her entire delegation who have traveled to Kenya to witness the signing of the Kenya-EU Economic Partnership Agreement. This highly positive, historic, and transformative development is the culmination of highly committed engagements anchored by long-standing cordial ties between Kenya and the 27 countries which form the EU, both jointly and severally. This salient feature of these ties include such shared values and common multilateral objectives as a strong commitment to democracy and rule of law, respect for human rights, peace and security, as well as combating climate change. Under these conditions, our trade, investment, and people-to-people relations have ensured that our ties have inevitably grown stronger and closer and flourished over time. Our presence here has been made possible by years of consistent work towards the establishment of a permanent mechanism to underpin trade and investment and transform our mutually beneficial relations, broaden two-way trade, establish new investments, and add value to the items currently being traded between Kenya and the European Union. At the core of this arrangement is our aspiration to put real money into the pocket of ordinary people, farmers, craftsmen and women, fabricators, transporters, various other kinds of workers who contribute to the manufacturing, intercontinental transport, and last mile delivery to consumers of various products that are a subject of the signing of this agreement today. Today, therefore, is a great day for the hardworking people who often make their contribution to job creation, innovation, and value addition through micro, small, and medium enterprises and small businesses. I am talking about the unassuming lady in Kieni who rises every day without fail to tend to her little shamba of snow peas, which eventually cross seas and find their way to European dinner tables, or the many workers whose labor produce globally competitive buckets of fresh flowers, or the mango and avocado growers whose patient toil over the years have enabled us to deliver very high quality fruits to Europe and the world. It is the interests, aspirations, hopes, and dreams of these and many others that have inspired the exemplary dedication of our capable negotiating teams to remain determined to proceed beyond the Kenya-European strategic dialogue to the successful delivery of this economic partnership agreement. There is no doubt that trade in goods is very important for investors in our markets. However, trade in services is equally vital. As I commend the two negotiating teams led by Madam Dora Correa for the EU and Alfred Kombuda for Kenya, I encourage them to remain committed to negotiating a future agreement that will open up trade in services between markets in Europe and Kenya and enable various types of professionals, engineers, doctors, nurses, environmental technicians, clinical technicians, accountants, the performing arts like music and theater, as well as many other services to serve a freer and a bigger market. This ceremony is important because we have successfully negotiated a framework for the delivery of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda by connecting our hardworking workers and entrepreneurs with transformative opportunities in one of Kenya's biggest export markets, which accounts for 21% of our country's total exports, worth $1.4 billion, or close to 200 billion Kenya shillings. The EU's 27 member countries, 16 trillion euro market, contributed 17% to global GDP and is one of Kenya's biggest trading partners, whose exports to our market now amount to US $2.1 billion. The variety of goods traded between the EU and Kenya underscores the potential of this bilateral trade framework to deliver trade and investment of volumes, diversity, and promise that we can only conclude that although today represents a moment of monumental promise, it is also the beginning of a historic partnership for historic transformation. The EU is not just a giant, lucrative market. It is a premium market whose demand guarantees higher earnings, for our products and will drive our export production to higher levels of competitiveness. The EU is one of our country's largest development partnerships, and I expect that with the signing of the Economic Partnership Agreement, development cooperation will be significantly enhanced, especially in the areas of trade and investment, and with a special focus on Kenya's commitment to pursue a transition to a green economy. With the signing of the agreement, therefore, we have a permanent agreement investments into innovation, capacity development, and value addition in order to increase and diversify our exports into the European Union. A good example of the great positive potential arising out of this agreement is the transformation of our leather value chain. We have the third largest herd of livestock in Africa. The agreement has catalyzed our interventions to increase the productivity and competitiveness of the sector by securing a large lucrative market for finished leather products, which include industrial goods, everyday footwear, bags, straps, car interiors, and accessories. The people of Kenya will remember that I have consistently stated that most of our hides and skins go to waste. We now have an opportunity to derive value from our hides and skins, and I am very happy that this agreement has come into place. Consequently, Kenyan and European investors in the leather value chain are already benefiting from the opportunity to export to the EU. To meet the high standards required by the EU, our manufacturers have transformed their production through investment in modern equipment and processes from the EU. So it's a real partnership for us to use the raw materials we have. We're going to deploy European technology so that we can export high quality leather products to that market. And let me conclude, through this agreement, we are signaling to the world that Kenya is ready to manufacture and export high value premium products to Europe and to the world at large. And I trust that this ceremony will inaugurate the arrival of investments in other manufacturing areas, including chemicals, pharmaceuticals, medical supplies, and equipment. And Madam President, let me just inform you that just last week, we went out to provide infrastructure. There was an announcement last week of in the works. We're now going to provide infrastructure in those special economic zones, and we're looking forward to investments from Europe and from elsewhere so that we can use these facilities with very high incentives to develop manufacturing and value addition capabilities, especially for adding value to our products. Between myself and the county governors who are present here, we are improving the market value chain, building 400 markets across Kenya, whole value, agricultural value chain, all the way to the exports that will find themselves into Europe, have a trace and chain that will provide infrastructure for that to be done systematically. There is no doubt that the agreement will promote significant transformation of various value chains. We are committed to deliver our plan for Kenya through a considered value chain approach, which places emphasis on cardinal issues of competitiveness and value proposition in each of our interventions. As shown above, the agreement goes far in facilitating our preferred delivery approach for Kenyans. Further, the agreement will usher in the era of blended opportunities with the EAC, COMESA, and SCFTA mechanisms supporting attractive investment potential. I am particularly happy that this agreement we are signing today leaves the door open, and I say wide open, for our EAC partners to join into this agreement so that together as a region we can benefit from the economies of scale, and Europe can equally benefit from the economies of scale in our part of the world. In the agreement, Kenya and the EU are committed to advance their mutual trade, investment, and economic cooperation objectives sustainably through the implementation of a strong joint environmental agenda. Through the agreement, therefore, Kenya has found a like-minded partner equally committed to the transition into a green economy, and towards that end, to pursue sustainable trade. I am therefore proud to be here today to witness this historic milestone in our journey of national economic transformation. It is clear now, more than ever, that the future holds greater promise than was understood previously, and that agreements like this go a long way to define our promise as a nation. Madam President and your delegation, we are immensely that you have taken time during this holiday season to come in person to witness this agreement, and it speaks volumes of your commitment and the value Europe attaches to this agreement. And I want to tell you that we too immensely value the relationship between Kenya and Europe. Thank you very much. Welcome, Madam President.
Thank you very much, President Ruto. Excellencies, distinguished guests, good morning. What a pleasure to be here with you. Indeed, it is a pleasure to be back in Nairobi, and I want to express how much the European Union values this partnership with Kenya. It is very important for us. We may be on different continents, but we are so close at heart. We both champion democracy and human rights. Both strong advocates of an international rule-based order. In in this regard, I thank you for supporting Ukraine, our neighbor, aspiring member. And I want you to know that the European Union welcomes and supports a constructive role for peace and stability in the East African region and in the Horn of Africa. Partnerships like ours are precious. Because they are so precious, in the times we live in, they need to be strengthened. And that's what we are doing here today, very concretely. With the signature of the EU-Kenya Economic Partnership Agreement. Indeed, we already have a thriving trade relationship. The European Union is Kenya's first export destination and second largest trading partner. And as it has been said, our bilateral trade amounted to more than 3 billion euros last year. But because this agreement will fully open the European market to Kenya's products as soon as with the doors open, tariff-free, quota-free. This will boost your exports tremendously. It will give an incentive to scale up, to create good jobs here. And at the same time, and this was very important for us, our agreement is fair and it is sustainable because it takes into account your need to open your market only gradually. So there's a long transformation period. Important is for you that certain products come to the Kenyan market, like the imports of machinery from the European Union that are crucial here to produce. But the Economic Partnership Agreement includes very special safeguards for agriculture and food security. So important is for us that we bring products to the Kenyan market that are necessary here to produce, but that we do not compete. So that this is a fair agreement and a sustainable agreement. This agreement also represents countless new opportunities for Kenya's businesses, as I said, to scale up and to create good jobs. And for us, it is a precious contribution to our diversification strategy. For the European Union, it is very important to strengthen our supply chains and diversify them with trusted, like-minded partners. And Kenya is a trusted, like-minded partner. So we are deepening trade ties and we are building up our own economic resilience. So this economic partnership agreement is a win-win situation on both sides. Very important for us is also that whatever cooperation and trade we have together, that, as you've said, there's added value and creation of jobs locally. This is very important, that the raw product is not extracted and taken outside the country, but that the added value is created here, that the supply chain is built here to create good jobs locally. New approach, but a very important one. Then, as you said, President Ruto, the agreement is open to the other states of the Eastern African community. And this makes Kenya a trendsetter, a pioneer. You're showing how to move forward. We encourage the other Eastern African countries to join this economic partnership agreement. They can only benefit from the regional integration. And of course, it is here in the region important also amongst yourselves to open the markets. And finally, this agreement also mirrors our shared values. It includes provisions on labor rights and on gender equality, and the most ambitious provisions on climate and environment that we have ever had in a trade agreement with an African country. Why was this possible? It is possible because Kenya is a champion. what protection of climate and environment is concerned. And this is a domain where Kenya leads by example. I was here in September for the Africa Climate Summit, and you really made Africa's voice heard and you set the tone. I will never forget how strongly you advocated that you are part of the solution. It perfectly paved the way for successful COP28. And this is also your success, dear President. I want to thank you for that, for your determination and your strong stance on that one. We all know that climate change impacts Africa more than any other continent, and you know this all too well. You have recently been hit by heavy floods with devastating effects. We stood right by your side. Kenya has long understood that the green transition is the way to mitigate the destructive impact of climate change and at the same time to deeply transform your economy. You called it Go Green. You have launched your green industrialization efforts. We gladly support them via our Global Gateway strategy. Global Gateway is the European investment program abroad. And with Global Gateway, we invest almost 3.5 billion euros for Kenya's green transition. There are over 150 green Global Gateway projects here in Kenya in the making. Clean mobility is one example with the Nairobi Clean Bus Rapid Transit Line 3, obviously well known. We discussed this in March during your visit in Brussels. And I also want to mention, which is very dear to my heart, the green hydrogen strategy and roadmap for Kenya. This is something very special. We signed it together in September. Green hydrogen is the front runner of energy production for the future. The whole world is asking for it. And therefore, this roadmap is helping you towards your goal to become a clean hydrogen hub, a front runner with the European Union's financial support. So overall, you are on your best way to become a renewable powerhouse, reaching your ambitious target of 100% clean energy by 2030. But if I hear that you are already at 91% now, I have not the slightest doubt that you will reach your ambitious goal. Most importantly, it will create good jobs in the energy sector for your people, especially for the vibrant youth. And it, of course, will give people access to energy. This is one of the main jobs that we have to deliver. And on this basis, we want to go a step further. So we invite you to start working with us on a green partnership between the European Union and Kenya. There's so much to identify and good policy experiences and best practices to share and to make the green transition a success at the scale of our continents. To conclude, I want to thank you personally again, dear President, for hosting me here in Nairobi. With our economic partnership agreement, we are opening a new chapter in our very strong relationship. Now, our efforts should be focused on implementation. We have to deliver for the people, and I'm looking forward to working with you very closely on that. Many thanks. My dear friend.
Now take a few questions from members of the press, with your permission. And to the media, kindly start with your name, the media house you represent, then keep your question as short as possible. If it is directed to either of the principals, remember to mention. Over to you, members of the press, for your questions.
Oh, we are lucky there are no questions.
Hibak Said from TV 47. For both presidents, a question. The exportation of mango used to be very lucrative for Kenya. What is the progress so far? Is the EU working towards it? And how is Kenya looking towards implementing that? And also, avocado exportation was recently temporarily halted. What is the progress?
Thank you very much. I think that question now would be best to answer because this is about Kenyan exports. It is true that mangoes and the whole fruit sector is a very big export opportunity for us into the EU and into other markets. It is the reason why we are developing infrastructure. The challenge that we've always had with mangoes is the market infrastructure from the farm all the way to the export point. That is why between the national government and our county governments, we are working on market infrastructure. That includes cold rooms, that includes value addition capabilities, so that we can keep the mangoes, keep the fruits in good condition that meets the highest standards of exports into the high premium, as I said here, markets in Europe and elsewhere. The challenge has been market infrastructure, the value chain infrastructure. And that is the reason why this time round we are structuring our delivery using the market value chain approach, so that at every opportunity, we not only increase production, but we also facilitate all the other interventions in between to make sure that our products meet the highest quality of standards, whether it is avocado, or whether it is mangoes, or indeed all the other fruits that we deal with. Let me say this agreement specifically opens or actually throws the door wide open for us to export to a very high premium market, but we have to meet the standards that are required, and Kenyans are known for very high quality professional standards. I have no doubt in my mind that with the market infrastructure that we are rolling out, we will have the opportunity to do this. And also the opportunity that this agreement gives us to have access to European high standard machinery and value addition capabilities makes it a win-win, as you said, Madam President, a win-win agreement.
Yes, let me perhaps add to that. Indeed, first of all, one important step is that European machinery that is needed here to add value and to increase the quality will come preferential to the market. But the other way around, the export from Kenya to the European Union is completely tariff and quota free. And here I highly appreciate what you just said. It is important also that the products here, the added value to the value chain is of Kenyan origin. This is one of the topics where we're working very closely with Kenya under Global Gateway. We call it smart agriculture and sustainable agriculture. There are many projects we have together. Basically, the principle is that not only to produce here, but to add value here, and therefore to have the benefit of the whole value chain in Kenya, and then the highly specialized products go to the export.
Another question? Okay.
Okay, maybe then we can leave it there, but just to buttress what Madam President has said, that contrary to what happened before, when we just exported raw materials for processing, value addition in Europe and other destinations, this agreement specifically gives us the opportunity to add value to all our agricultural export products in Kenya. so that we create jobs here, we create value here, and we export finished products. The same way Europe will export finished products to us, we want to export, using this agreement this time around, finished products also to Europe. That is the significance of this agreement, that it appreciates that we need to add value here because we need to create jobs, because this is how friends work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. We'll now request that we all remain seated as I welcome the stairs there where we will have some photos. His Excellency the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the Trade CS, MFA PS.
Us. I don't know what to get out of it.
I open your paper, the other one. Kibaki. First of all, when will you learn ever to call him president? Hundreds and thousands of Kenyans who cannot come here and defend themselves or tell you how they feel.
Ask now or never.
You know, and I know, and everybody else knows that I'm married and I have only one wife.
Nilisema mwaka wa 98 kwamba nitajiuzulu ama nitastaafu kipindi hiki cha miaka 5 ikisha. Wengine hawakuamini kwa sababu wanaamini power katika kontinenti la Afrika, kwamba kuna mtu anaweza kuwacha power ya urais. Power iko kwa wananchi.